take it apart from the inside out.
Did not.
You did say that.
I was there for that.
I was.
I believe it was
They weren't on
And that's
decided
sick.
in November or December
I said
meeting.
if you were going to elect me
I'm not-
captain against my protest, that my first order would be to dissolve the department.
I am not, I'm still speaking. What you have done single-handedly to this department is unforgiving. And it pains me to think about the people out in this town that may have to deal with the type of attitude and the things that you say to other people on this department on a call, what you say to women and how you treat women on calls in public is unforgiving, and I'm not going to be part of it.
So you're resigning?
I am resigning,
Excellent.
and that's, I know what you wanted, but you, unfortunately, Jay, make it a place that is uninhabitable. So, to be the longest member on this department,
Am I recording this?
you absolutely, you record every minute of it. I thank you for single-handedly dismantling this department. And your whole political agenda is obvious in the room.
You got the votes, why don't you cast me out?
Because I don't want to be part of this department. What you have done to it and what you have created in this town it's ridiculous. And unfortunately, eventually you're going to get someone killed.
I think it'd be responsible to take
Because
action.
if you can't trust the members on your own department, eventually that will happen. And I'm sorry that you have not been in the service long enough to see something like that happen, but it will happen eventually. People depend on you to be in a fire, they depend on you to be an EMT beside them.
Thank you.
You should never have to worry about the guy beside you. And what you have created here is that.
What is this I've created?
You cannot be trusted by some of us on this department.
Trusted to lie for you, to cover
No.
up your fraud?
No, trusted to not do something underhandedly or try to maneuver or manipulate, because that's what you do. You're a manipulating person.
What manipulation?
You manipulate people on this department.
Becoming personal.
You're right, it is personal. I spent 21, shut up. I spent 21 years on this department.
You're going to allow this now?
Sean.
I believe a person that spent 21 years on the department and is making a resignation has the right to speak their piece, which he has spoken. So he has that right. He's put 21 years in here. If John, in all of his years, had something to say, then we would listen to it as well. It's respectful. He put
Is that
a lot of...
reciprocated just there? Shut up, I was brother-in-law? Is that respected?
He's been
Was
pushed to the
interrupting
edge.
him.
He let the man speak his piece.
I
Be
agree.
done with it.
So, moving on.
No, one more point, if I may, please. This was made under duress. We understand that with motions. I'm just saying, there's a
We've already
resignation.
talked about the August minutes. Is that what you're still talking about?
I hope that when calmer things come down, it might be reconsidered.
So at this point, we've talked about the July minutes, we've corrected them. Is there anything else? Do we vote to accept or deny these, or whatever, what are we doing? We're making a motion to accept the July minutes as amended. Is there a second? All in favor? Opposed?
I guess because of the lower part.
I have no idea what the motion is. We've already voted on each correction. I have no idea what this is about. So.
I'm making a motion to accept the meeting minutes like we do every month.
Right.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
minus 3 other.
So 3 to 2.
It's just what we do every month with the meeting minutes, except that it wasn't done. So do we,
Yes, it passed 3 to 2. Cody and you and I voted. Jay opposed.
okay, now we have a mess for August that we need to sort out.
So,
Something regarding August.
Kathy would like to say something regarding the August minutes.
Despite the fact that it didn't get onto the website, and we've never before had public people attending this, we all received an email saying the meeting had been changed to August 25th.
I did not receive such a.
Okay, you were the only one perhaps should not been put onto the list, but everybody else received the notice of the change of meeting. You said you did. I did. All right. And we went to the August 25th meeting and took notes there and had a very good meeting that doesn't seem to exist. And as far as I'm concerned, these meetings, these minutes do not count.
So are you making a motion?
I'm making a motion to disregard the August 15th minutes.
Discussion.
I second that motion. Tom, you
I'm
have no
sorry,
vote.
I have no vote.
Okay, so please abstain. I second that motion.
All in favor?
Can't vote, so we can't have discussion. This just keeps getting better. Okay,
This one.
take the vote.
Just like a planning board, huh, Jane?
Please,
Members of the public, please
you can't
abstain
speak. I'm sorry.
from speaking. Cody, what was your vote?
Now he's making a fist and shaking at it from behind. We can't we get that?
I witnessed it. I witnessed it.
Dottie, vote please.
To accept as amended?
No, the
No,
motion
A
is,
motion
Sorry.
to disregard the August
That we
18th
didn't.
minutes.
I don't have enough legal information to make that determination. I don't know whether it was a legal meeting or not.
so
I'm
you're
sorry, I
abstaining?
don't.
Abstaining then? Agreeing, abstaining?
Abstaining, I suppose.
You made the motion, okay, and I am a yes. Aaron?
I already said I was yes.
Okay. Opposed?
Nay. You're gonna recant your words. You made the motions and you're gonna pretend that it ran. I've got to.
Okay,
So
so
that's
we're,
next
I
week.
think we've made it through all of our meeting minutes,
Yes.
finally.
Don't have to
So the actual August meeting minutes will be available to the public for August 25th.
Motion to attach these, because we don't know which meeting is legal. It's not attached. But I can't do
Tom, the
it.
motion's already done.
Yes, it's another motion that could be made if
These
someone
meetings
wishes.
these don't go away. They don't get pulled out of the selectmen's record. That's the other stuff the public view.
Not necessarily, it's not minutes the same.
They existed. The place is
You
on.
need to make a motion to have it attached. You're going to be outvoted. It's going to make it disappear.
We could attach these to the.
That we never had. That.
New business, I have the estimated
I
ambulance.
move that we attach these minutes to this month's minutes. Are you ignoring my motion?
I didn't hear your motion, I'm sorry.
So does anybody second Jane's
So
motion?
he's made a motion, anybody second it?
To do what?
Attach these.
Incorporate these into the minutes of this month's meeting.
As
For
proof
the
that
purpose of referring to them that,
we don't know which one's legal. If you make those disappear, you have nothing. We don't know at this point. We hear on this side, we hear on this side.
we don't know at this point. I agree with that.
If you don't attach them, they don't exist.
Well, I'm not for hiding anything,
Okay.
so
Well, that's the idea.
if we're saying in the minutes that we voted against it, then attach them,
So you're seconding Jay's motion?
I suppose.
All in favor?
I,
All opposed?
No.
So 5 opposes. Okay, moving on
We
then.
have 5 opposed?
1,
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5.
New business. I have compiled painstakingly with John's help, thankfully, or at least input, I should say, an ambulance budget for 2015. If anybody would like a copy of it, I'd be happy to send it to you. And I made to the budget were namely, I put in for 5 people to do the EMR course and 1 person to do the EMR to EMT conversion class, which we'll have to discuss with Pam, obviously, in light of Reese's information. So that's the big change. So with that are the pagers and the supplies, the fuel reimbursement. So that is a big change.
So that's training. Right?
That's training. Yeah. Most everything stayed pretty much the same. So the radios changed. Census stayed the same. Equipment is still coming from the revolving account as Dottie had it last time. Cost-based items.
Do you have equipment in there that we need to get?
John and I went through the list of things that we could think of. We couldn't think of anything, but if anybody can think of something, I can amend it, send it back to them.
I just wondered if you
Yeah,
had
if there's
something
anything
in
you
mind.
can think of. No,
No.
no. We couldn't think of anything in specific that needed to be updated or changed. So, no. Medical supplies, the math is all there. You can look at it. Oxygen, same as last year. Vehicle fuel, the mileage reimbursements changed that. Dispatch fees changed as well because of the $12.99 per person for the active 911. So that's an increase, which I think is a very important increase. I think that'll be a very good thing. And then the last thing that I have on here is an administrative assistant for the department. And what I wrote was this. This past year, the town lost a very valuable person from their volunteer staff in regards to administrative stuff. Dottie Ernst. Dottie volunteered her time well over a full-time position to do the copious amounts of paperwork required to keep up with training, certifying people and equipment, as well as responding to medical calls and overseeing the billing and recording of all medical calls. Our department has not been able to recover from this loss. If the town of Grafton is to continue to have a volunteer ambulance department, something must change. We currently have many volunteers with full-time jobs who would love to give more time but simply don't have it. This leaves the burden of the majority of calls to 2 dedicated volunteers. They are indeed remarkable people. However, we need more reliable daytime help. We've tried to advertise for more volunteers and have had many responses, but the amount of education and continued training are hugely burdensome and steadily increase each year. Thusly, while many offer, few are able to balance such a huge time commitment with work and family. Our state has the same regulations for paid positions as for volunteers. While people want to help, it is very difficult to find someone willing to go the lengths required by the state. Many towns have gone to various degrees of payment for their staff in hopes of retaining more EMS workers. In many cases, this has been successful. Our staff of dedicated volunteers have agreed it is not about money. This is, we did this in our meeting, and it was in December or January. It was January, I think, last year. January last year that we talked about being paid or not being paid. So we've agreed that it's not about the money, but about giving back to the community. I agree with this wholeheartedly. However, as the ambulance captain, I need to look at the bigger picture. We need a larger staff to handle the calls we receive. It is my suggestion that we hire an administrative assistant who can handle much of the ambulance department paperwork to work during the hours of our heaviest call volume for about 18 to 20 hours a week. This person would have an EMR/EMT certification and be able to respond to calls during the regular hours. They must be willing to go to all the state training and certification necessary, including the background checks and fingerprints and hand scans. They must be able to lift 75 pounds. The ideal person would also be a self-starter with a positive attitude and able to work well with a team. An administrative assistant would lift a number of burdens from volunteers of our staff and allow us to have adequate staffing to cover emergencies. This is a very important decision and shouldn't be considered lightly. The alternative is that eventually it will be too much for 2 people to handle and we will have no medical coverage.
It's already too much for 2 people to handle when one of them works every day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, we are
talking
Just
about
so
the
I'm on
people
the
that have
same-
the most runs
Yeah.
and the most hours and the most, the The two people that showed up on
The,
the calls.
I forget exactly what you said, but the high call volume hours, what did you compute them to be?
I haven't computed them yet.
Okay.
But you had previously said that it was Tuesday and Wednesdays, I believe, during the day that were our highest call.
Have
I
to
think,
run
I think you
census
had
reports.
Yeah, we could
Look,
pull
I
up a
don't remember.
statistic.
I don't remember. But it would have to be day,
during the day.
because that's when Kathy's at school,
Yeah,
and we don't have, there's nobody,
yeah.
Correct. And even if are your hours a full 8-hour day, or are they?
And
Well, I
then
know.
She-
I
she
can't
does that.
respond after 3:30 in the morning, because I have to be able to get back to
Drive
the bus,
the
and
bus.
I'm not home until a little after 4.
Okay,
So
so
we're
it would be
talking
full.
about
Yeah.
12, 13 hours during the school week. I'd like to say something else too, that John and I have talked and discussed, and we're EMTs, all of us, to help the community. That's what we like to do. And the biggest thing is to be able to have trust and confidence in the person that's beside you on a call. And there is no one in this department that either one of us do not feel trust and confidence in on call. Every one of you, even if you're not licensed yet. You've been on calls, and I hope you get licensed soon. And Reese, I know you're gonna do good because you've been on calls before, you have great interest and some good instincts and stuff. This stuff drives me crazy.
I agree.
This stuff,
No,
Just sucks
wait,
the
I
life out of
agree with what you were, I mean, it drives me crazy too, but I agree with, I trust everybody here to provide good EMT services on a call, and
it's a shame that this gets in the way.
What are you reading from? Is that an attachment to the budget? Is it?
Yeah, it's all part of the budget. I just followed Dottie's form for the budget. When she's done them in the past, there are these beautiful tomes of
Is it
information.
available to attach, or should I try to transcribe?
You can have that. I printed it.
You can have this one. I can email you a copy if it's easier.
I think you
digital
already did,
form.
didn't you?
Oh,
You emailed the
did I?
department the budget.
No, I think I just emailed all
I
the
didn't
minutes.
get it.
No, I just emailed all the minutes. I didn't put the budget in there. So, let's get another copy here. Those are the big changes. If anybody has any recommendations, suggestions, changes, things that I overlooked,
oh,
whatever.
what's the bottom line? I'm sorry,
Yeah, the
I was, I got hung up in the, I don't know.
It's time.
Ms. Lemmy?
Training.
Mostly training, mileage reimbursement, that's the big change, because the administrative assistant stuff is not even in there. I didn't come up with any kind of computation as to what that would be at all.
Training and outfitting the members is expensive.
It's very expensive.
Time consuming
So
on their part.
25 to 37. How much out of the volume?
You'll have to, it was some 2
They'll
weeks ago.
figure it out.
Yeah, it's written in there, I think. I followed your form, so if you had it written in there, then I have it written in there.
Well, you have to kind of look at the
Year by
balance and the
year.
revolving account to see what's there to, but
So-
they'll figure it out.
If you have any additions or whatever, if you see anything in there that you want differently,
Can you just
let me know.
send it so I can read it?
I'll send it to you. Does anybody else want it sent to them electronically?
Can we just send it to the whole
I
department?
can send it to the whole department.
Yeah, that's good.
That way it's just easier to click on group and go.
Is there anything, this is something we can take out, huh?
You can look through it.
So is this just a review and then we're gonna vote on it in the next meeting, or is
We
this?
don't,
No, we don't
Oh, we don't.
vote on it. It just gets submitted and then they'll
I
do
mean, we
their,
have input usually, traditionally
Yeah.
we discuss it, but
yeah,
it's
so if
never been
there's,
a motion or a vote or a.
Okay.
so if there's anything that anybody has that they see that needs to be changed, then let me know. And we'll work it out. Anything else?
Are we in old business or new business?
We're going over the new business budget for 2019.
Any questions, anything else on the budget?
Anything else on the new business?
I have something. I haven't really been in my position very long, and I've worked my butt off trying to keep up with this chaos and mayhem. And every time I think I've gotten closer to that point where I can do something to help the community and help this department, it doesn't work. And it's heartbreaking to me. It truly is. So, as heartbreaking as it is to me to make a motion for this, I would like to motion, even though it's written in our bylaws, that any member not performing his or her duties shall be subject to disciplinary actions as determined by the captain. I know personally we've lost at least 2 trainees. We just lost another member. We've been very, very close to losing other members of this department, and it breaks my heart, but I would like to motion for the captain to relieve our secretary of his duties as secretary and as an EMT on this department. I feel like since I've been here, you've been extremely negative. I've almost left multiple meetings. Before I was even a member, I almost quit. I know personally, I'm the training officer. I had 2 members come up to me, 2 trainees, and say they don't want to be part of this because of the things that, just the bad attitude and stuff. And I've told myself years and years and years over and over that he'll come around. I've stuck up for you when I was wrong, and I still stuck up for you because you were my friend. And it breaks my heart to motion for the captain to leave you as an EMT on this department and as a secretary, but that's the motion I'm making.
You're welcome to be secretary. I won't protest that at all. You can have it then.
I'm motioning for you to
You take it. You put it
apart from this department, period, end of story.
You mean removed as a member?
Removed as a member,
I
removed as,
thought we talked about this before with the bylaws, that we don't really have a way to do that.
well, actually, according to our bylaws, it clearly states
Once
That-
again, spoon turtles.
It clearly states that all members will act at all times in all circumstances with dignity, politeness, and responsibility. Members will be expected to conduct themselves at all times in such a manner as to command the respect of their fellow members and the general public. Any member who neglects or refuses to perform his or her duties as prescribed by these bylaws and the operating rules of the service shall be subject to disciplinary actions as determined by the captain. I know for a fact that we've had issues. We've tried to resolve them, and they're just not working. So my motion is to have the captain make that choice. And my motion is just simply stated, I'm supporting the captain in making that choice to remove you from this department.
So you're making a motion for the captain to make a decision.
I don't,
Second?
wait, can we,
What-
do
what-
you second before
No, you gotta
discussion or
second.
discussion for,
Second.
okay,
Second.
discussion? I'm concerned with the legalities of that. Aren't there certain processes? I don't know them.
According to our bylaws, there are not.
Yeah, but it's
According to
not
the
just
state
our
of New Hampshire,
bylaws that
the
we,
state of New Hampshire, you don't need a reason to fire an employee. So therefore, it's, I don't remember what the term for the state of New Hampshire is, but it's, you can just walk into work and say, you're fired. And you don't have to give a reason, you don't have to give anything. I've been told this, I know this for a fact. I've
And
watched
they
it
have-
happen in
and they
Dartmouth
have
Fishcraft
no-
Medical Center.
recourse,
Not at all.
is that true? May I? Is that true?
What I know is that New Hampshire is an at-will state. The part about no recourse, I don't know. I would imagine that somebody's got
That's-
recourse.
It does, but, so that's my motion, is that I'm motioning for the captain to make a choice, and I'm putting it on the record that I support a decision of Mr. Boucher being removed from the service.
And still in the discussion, as we discussed when I was at the group on the 18th, that these bylaws are flawed and they can be used as power plays, as, you know, as I have seen that it just happens, a coincidence this time, Aaron, but I just want to make it, it's no longer in the minutes. What I said that I witnessed you stand up and shake, and that's, you know, it's the kettle calling the pot motion is on the floor, it's in the discussion, it's, what I'm saying is, yes, the minutes are flawed, I think we all recognize it, we read them both differently.
Bylaws.
Bylaws.
I'm sorry, bylaws. Black and white, we read them 180 degrees different.
Well,
It's
That's why
happened
I'm
to
saying
me on the way at
I'm
Logan.
just concerned
I'm done
about the
with discussion.
legalities, and since we really don't know, what do you do?
Well, then my motion can be for the captain to make that choice and investigate the legalities, but my strong suggestion is that our secretary be removed from his position as secretary and as a member of this department. And it kills me. Being the training officer, it kills me knowing we'll be one EMT down. It kills me, absolutely. But knowing that I just lost another EMT, and I just lost 2 EMRs that were supposed to be in class tonight with Reese, it kills me, absolutely kills me. And so the cost of 3 responders to 1, it's in the public's best interest. It's in providing this town proper care. And I just, it kills me to actually have to make this motion. It does. Yeah, I mean, I was your neighbor for 3 months, but I mean, you were my mentor. You were one of my friends. I considered you, and then I feel like you've attacked me. You've just not been beneficial to this department, and that's.
All right, the personal
That's-
issues, that's my concern, the legalities of the whole thing scare me.
Well,
Because we've
that can
never
be
done
looked-
this.
That can be looked into
I
with
can
the
talk to
town
the
lawyer,
town
and
lawyer, I
it can be.
That could be possible.
We can find out what,
I think we should find out.
We need to be-
things for the department, for our bylaws, in general, not for a specific case, you know what I'm saying, but I think we need to have parameters, just as you were saying, and we should agree upon behavior, that you'd get a warning, you'd get a written thing, and then dismissal. I think that's what
The-
you're
the other
looking
issue
for. We
with-
need to agree on what kind of, decorum's not the word I want, but how.
What type of punitive process?
No,
that-
not punitive. We have to agree on what is acceptable behavior and what is not, how it will be dealt with.
So that's my motion. Legalities of it can be investigated, but my motion is that I support the captain and I encourage the captain to investigate the legalities and make that decision. Somebody second it.
I have no more discussion. We already did.
I'm allowed to defend myself, so carry on.
It's under discussion.
So then let's vote.
John, do you have anything to say?
The bylaws are flawed. There's no procedural, there's no process, there's no appellate issues to go around it, there's no membership concurring, there's no fact-based gathering, there's no outside arbitrator. These are things we have to consider. Unfortunately, I feel I'm too close into the bubble here. I can't stand back enough to be objective enough to weigh this, whether it's Jay or somebody else. And we don't have that mechanism. And this is not an employer, even though for the purposes of law, it probably is employer-based, but we're a volunteer organization. Normally, in a volunteer organization, when there's a problem, and you don't want to fester too long, there has to be a mechanism to bring it out on the table so that people at a calm time can actually discuss it. I know in the corporate world, there's a procedure involved. First it's a verbal warning, then a written warning, and it goes in. Unfortunately, in a volunteer organization, a lot of these procedural steps are not done. I have conflicts here, okay? this particular motion, I would entertain a motion to come up with a process. I understand the point you made. It's a very valid concern, but I'm afraid we may not do it correctly procedurally. Legality, you know, you can always thread a needle in a course of law. What is morally correct? What is the proper thing to do? And I think we lose sight of that sometimes in these meetings. That sometimes we rush too quick to do things that we haven't stepped back and run it by somebody who's not that directly involved. And I think outside counsel, not legal counsel, but somebody, you know, mentor from maybe the State Fire Academy, because we got a broken department. It needs to be fixed. I was talking with my wife and saying, you know, I may have to hire a consultant to come in and take a look at our situation and what the problem is and fix it. I mean, if it means termination, then it means termination, but I think we're just too close in the volunteer community to do this. And I would feel better with an outside consultant, not preloading that outside person with anything, let them dig on their own, let them talk to everybody. And that way, we have a concurrence from an outside source that should be unbiased. But right now, too many of us are inside this bubble. We all have our individual likes and dislikes. And I'm hopeful that, I know it hasn't come into the practice of medicine. We treat every patient to the best of our abilities, but this is something that's going to need to fix. And I think, I'll admit, I'm not qualified to fix this.
I don't think anybody in there is qualified to fix this.
And I do wholly agree that
I totally agree.
Well, I said I think
we should have an outside person come and look at a department.
Not only this department, but also the fire department.
Correct.
some stuff.
Yeah, we need help.
Set in place.
Big time, and I do agree we're a broken department.
I don't think any of us can
And-
disagree with that. We need help.
So, whether voting for your motion or not, I think we have a flawed procedure all around. It needs to be fixed. And I think we need to start the ball rolling sooner rather than later. Okay? I think we'll have to find some money in the budget somewhere, but I don't think we should wait till the budget cycle. I think it's something that has to be done now.
I agree.
Okay, so, there was a motion on the table. All in favor? Opposed?
Yes. Yes. Is there somebody from the state EMS who could come in?
Well, I was gonna ask for a motion, so, because John had a suggestion. Do you want to
I-
make that a motion, John?
Yeah, I'll make the
I
motion.
wholeheartedly second
Did we
that.
finish the one motion?
Yeah, we
We
could.
just
table.
did.
No, we
They
didn't.
we just voted on the motion that was on the table.
Was one nay, zero,
It was what?
Two, it was,
See, I voted.
it was,
Oh, let's recount that, because I missed that.
so all four,
So what are we voting for?
What
This
was
was on
the
terminating.
terminating Jay.
Aaron moved to have the captain of Jay as a member. Cody seconded.
And we discussed.
We discussed, all in favor?
I don't
We
hear
were already in
any ayes.
favor, I made the motion, and he seconded it, so that's two.
You don't have to vote for your motion.
It's just two.
You can listen to
No,
John and
listen.
decide to
No,
withdraw your motion.
so, as somebody who's here trying to help lead this department, if all of our members in here could behave and get along and drop everything else, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you're into, I don't care. As long as your job and your inner self is here because you want to save the people out there, I don't care who you are, please come. However, I feel that if our members are not here to benefit the community, they need to leave. I mean, you're my brother, you're on this department with me. Our job is out there to help those people, not to fight amongst each other. So my motion still stands and I vote for it. I've been here so long and I've watched you do so many things that I cannot retract my motion. I can't morally or ethically do it, knowing that you've been talked to, you've been asked to be nice, you've refused to comply, and it breaks my heart.
So you had seconded, so.
So I'm still in favor.
And then opposed,
Nay.
Yay,
2 opposed.
thought you were voting.
I'm against it until we get better information on the plan.
So can we amend it to say,
Hmm?
Well, that's
We're in
that.
the middle of the vote, folks.
We can
So
move on to
as
another one.
stated.
Okay, John,
That was an A.
did you have a motion to make?
Yes, I make a motion that we,
Did we conclude the vote?
yes,
Yes,
we
three, 3-2 against.
3 to 2 against.
2 yeses, 3 noes, one.
Correct.
I'm sorry that the secretary asking about the minutes being recorded is hostile attitude.
I'm not yelling at you.
Okay, we'll just
It's
clarify.
okay, please. John,
I
thank
can
you.
make a motion that we look to an outside consultant to evaluate both the ambulance and fire
I
department.
wholeheartedly second that motion.
Third.
Beat you.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Jay?
Opposed?
Opposed?
One opposed?
So 1 opposed.
I'll start calling the fire academy and start that
So,
process.
question, in that process, our bylaws are a disaster,
Oh,
but does
yeah.
that fall into that process?
Everything's on the table. If we have an outside person come in,
Then
everything's on the
we
table.
don't need to
Well,
Look,
we
worry
should look
about
at it.
fixing the bylaws.
They can look at it and help us make them right.
Okay, so it all falls under that.
Before you got here, I talked to Aaron, there's 4 of us that are resorting, and I have all my things.
Buffer menace, did you
Yeah.
make copies of them?
No, we were,
Some of them, I wanted to get into the file, see which ones are copies of
Yeah,
them.
and did you bring your keys?
yeah.
But, so the thing is, because like, John, we have lots of things,
Many.
and because John and I have to have a separate category, and I really would rather not have to say that the special transition course is what it is. If we can get somebody to come in and show us where to put them.
Yeah, so like we had talked about, somebody to come in and just show us how to do the
Yeah, I
stuff.
asked for that, and they said that they don't have a course, and they don't have anybody to do that, but they'll talk about doing an online course at some time in the future.
That's so useful.
Well, what about Kathy Doolin? She was always real willing. Can't she just come out and tell us what, can't we have an interactive conversation?
Can't we just have somebody to come and say, okay, this is
Who
where we
knows?
put these things?
And I'll also email,
Pam might be able to help you with that too.
Yeah.
Because she helps all the people in her
Somebody's
department.
gotta know.
Somebody's gotta know how to.
the other thing is I can email
Categories to
our
put them on.
paralegal that is assigned to us from the NREMT and ask her
Yeah,
what the best
because
thing.
that's where we report them to. is the
Oh, I'm
NREMT.
sorry, Kathy's New Hampshire.
Yeah, so we do need somebody from.
Kathy Doolin's New Hampshire.
so we do
Right,
need
yeah, so-
somebody from
It
National,
is national.
because, you know,
I'll
very
email our
helpful to John and
paralegal.
I, and save us from going to another 12-hour course after we go to the 24-hour.
Like you guys don't have enough to do. It's-
And I've got, Aaron,
Yes, ma'am.
where you going?
No, it wasn't that. Secondly, that weekend, the 26th, or Friday the 26th, that evening, and Saturday the 27th, 3 of us are gone to the RTP class, and John, that's his weekend, 4 days that,
So
He's
Kenan
Medical
will cover.
school.
so
Kenan
can
will cover.
you need to tell Pam
We need to tell
there won't be
dispatch.
anybody.
And ask Hannah.
What's the September what?
John Liz, the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th.
Leave Thursday, so
Yeah, 25th.
So we'll ask
Till when?
Kenan to be.
He's
really-
gone
I won't be
4
back
days.
till Sunday.
So the 28th.
I'll be around Sunday.
That's our
as far as I
RTP.
know.
So you're on, so what we'll do is we'll have for the 25th through the 28th, we'll have Kenan on first home.
Well,
We'll ask
whenever there's no one here.
28th, I'll be back, but that Friday night, well,
So
Friday
26th.
after work, but the 26th and the 27th, and John's gone Thursday, so.
So 25 through 27? Or
Yeah,
25
because there's
through
no point
28?
waiting.
Right,
Do
yeah,
it on
it's-
first tone.
Just
I
may
mean.
as well.
Right.
You know,
And then if there's members in town, if
Right,
I'm here,
right,
I
then
can
you
go
can
and,
have-
They can call them off.
You can always cancel, can't you?
Correct.
But
If it's a
if you
serious
do them
call, we
first
want,
tone,
you know, somebody to get there as fast as possible.
Yep.
may I now? In order to do the RTP, we have prerequisites.
Mhm.
We just did the hazmat one.
That's a fun one, isn't it?
Actually, I expected it to be, from you saying 6 hours, I expected it to be awful, but we just answered the questions and knew most of them already, so that was good.
It wouldn't let me, I had to go through every single slide and click every
Well-
single link in every single slide.
Well, anyway,
Anyways,
my
continue.
question, I need
It wasn't the same course.
From a different, right, yes,
I
listening,
need-
sorry.
copies of my FEMA 100, 200, 700 that are in the folder in there in order to
One-
give them to take the, well, I have 100, 200, 700. I think, what do we need, 100, 700?
100 and 700.
100 and 700
I
and
need
the
copies
hazmat.
to give them in order to get into the RTP class.
Okay, and you, so
They're in the,
we'll
my
do that right
training
after
folder,
this.
yes, and I still need those.
Right, and we can, while we're digging through your files, we can try to find those too.
Yeah, 100,
We've been hunting for the
700
ever
has
elusive.
that.
Hazmat.
The hazmat.
Well, I have the hazmat one.
Just, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Seek to be recognized.
Yes.
While you're talking about notifying Keenan on first, or on those dates, I think we should be having them on first tone now during the week, during the day. He's not available, John's by himself, I've got a shoulder on him, this one today. Body is hit or miss. We don't have coverage. I think taxpayers think they've been funding an apartment, they're not gonna get the response. I think we're negligent if we don't immediately put Keenan on notice now, as long as we try to, we don't have the crew between 4:30 a.m. and.
I don't think Canaan will just pick up.
No.
I think
We
that's.
know that we're not gonna be responding, I think it's responsible to tell somebody that can. How it happens, I don't know.
Yes, it is, I agree that it is responsible and that people have a right to expect a crew to show up, which we don't have right now consistently.
John, any thoughts?
But I don't know what this solution.
You're back in school now, right? You're,
It's not the form of a
Cody, are you
motion.
on
I asked
Yeah.
John, please, I asked John for thoughts and he's thinking. That's-
We're in the pickle.
Yeah.
We don't want to rely too much on Keenan, because sooner or later they're gonna come up to us and say, okay, $30,000, $40,000 a year.
Right.
Mhm.
Could we potentially ask
They-
Danbury?
We could have Danbury on first tone and have their EMTs respond if we would like to ask them to do that, because they don't have a transport service.
And
They
we've-
just have EMTs.
Well, then that doesn't do it any good.
Well, it does. We have an ambulance and we have,
And we've been there
There's a
multiple
couple
times.
more people, this makes it so much easier
Sorry.
to take notes when you're all talking at once, thank you.
If we have somebody there willing, it may be a short-term cost for us, so, but it'll get us around until we have another EMT online.
I'm embarrassed that this is a financial question. The health of the townspeople is at stake, and you're not gonna tell Keenan to respond 10 minutes sooner because we might be on the hook for a bit.
That's not what this is
It's
about.
not
This
necessarily
is trying to solve
telling
the
them.
problem.
what we're saying, Jay, is that we're trying to solve the problem of getting more EMTs here and that Danbury has no ambulance. However, they have a plethora of EMTs that are available all the time. Every time I've gone to a call there, they've had like 30 EMTs standing out there.
We have a problem today.
We have a problem today,
You
and
can make a phone call now.
yes, I can make a phone call to Danbury to get an EMT here in Grafton just as fast as I can to Canaan. The difference being, an EMT responding from Danbury can get in their car and come here immediately. An EMT responding from Canaan gets in their car, goes to the station, waits for a whole crew, then they bring their crew over here. So the faster response for the person that's waiting is if somebody comes out of Danbury and just joins our crew.
And
Go ahead.
Your logic is flawed. Somebody has a heart attack at 4
tomorrow morning?
Be myself, and I would immediately call,
Oh,
because I would
okay,
know
right.
Kathy be out, and I
Cody
would
will
go
be here at
provide the
4:31 in
initial
the morning.
support.
I don't think, in my mind, one voice. But in my mind, it's not so much putting Canaan on notice or contacting dispatch. We can't just hear Canaan, here's our problem. We need to negotiate it with Canaan, get their agreement. I mean, when you have nobody in town for a weekend or something, it's one thing, okay? But if you try to, without negotiating and working with them and coming up with an agreement, just my opinion, but if we try to, I mean, Canaan's got to agree. That's beyond mutual aid. Mutual aid is when one ambulance is out, we don't, the next town comes in and takes yours.
It's more than that. I mean, Kathy has provided support as A18, am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
So there is some exchange, there is some mutual aid. I mean,
And I've been down there working events during the summer too.
okay, so they have that. So there is a quid pro quo, if you will. I think we're just in a little jam here, and we can get out of it. I don't think we're in a long-term position. Because if we are, then we're gonna have to sit down and negotiate, and it gets expensive real quick.
So I think what we'll do is that we'll contact Danbury and make arrangements with them to see if we can get some people to come over here and help. And then we will talk to Canaan and we will get something figured out.
I just think the department that you're going to needs to agree before
Absolutely.
you just tell.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on telling anybody anything.
We've been very fortunate
Sorry.
this year that our call volume is way down compared to previous years. And we've been lucky to keep going through, and I think, like I said, if John knows that he's, nobody's around, the minute the tone goes out, he can call dispatch and say, tone out, Kane, we don't have enough, I'm going to the city, I'm going there myself. If somebody else is on, you can come on and say whatever your number is. I'm coming, call off Canaan.
So we'll make sure that gets taken care of.
I mean, when we're at the medical training next week, Kane's got to know, but I think we need to see if we can engage Danbury.
Okay, any other matters before we adjourn this meeting?
Motion adjourned.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to adjourning the meeting?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, please adjourn.
Who seconded?
I think it does. Not much. Pretty sure. You know what? Small hard. But I just think that the cards go in and take the way.
You respectfully would like to speak.
VHS,
There you go.
a regular VHS, miniature VHS, digital video.
8 millimeter?
Yeah.
Wow.
The DV tape, the little tiny one. I got it back home, stuck it in, I have a VCR too. That's that tape. Stuck it in there, and it ate. So I lost like 17, 18 hours.
Probably. Medical recording, so it's still on. You might have a few flaws, but you can watch it back. Did you have a chip involved here somewhere? Or an SD card? Recording
Not what Richard sent to me in an email. I can send you the email that Richard sent to me. There's an appeal process to this whole thing, and there's hearings.
And I was noticing, you know how that can act
You gotta plug it in, the battery's only good for about 45 minutes, but the hard drive is pretty good.
Nice.
And really, it's a dated model, I'm sure they're, 5 times faster than
I
that.
can give you probably half a minute on at this point.
Right, oh yeah, this is, they're ridiculous, of course, I know. It's crazy.